Bonjour! Here's a video on how to pronounce really well ER verbs, especially ER verbs that start with a vowel. So when an ER verb starts with a vowel, you have to do a liaison with things before it. So I chose three verbs: aimer, to love; écouter, to listen; arriver, to arrive. So let's use aimer as an example. So last lesson we saw that to pronounce aimer, all you need to do is to drop the E sound at the end. So aimer becomes M, okay? And dropping this E sound in written French means dropping the letter R, which was here before. So M. And then you can say it in almost every form. J'aime, tu aimes, il aime, elle aime, on aime, ils aiment, elles aiment. So I love, you love, he loves, etc. So when it starts with a vowel, you have to do this with je. You don't say je aime. That doesn't sound French. So you drop the e and then it's connected. J'aime. For example, j'aime la musique. J'aime la cuisine française, etc., etc. So that's with je. Just put the apostrophe and connect. J'aime. Next, French people do that with tu also. So instead of saying tu aimes, they say t'aimes. That's a bit more colloquial French, spoken French, but it's very good to speak like that. That's how French people speak. T'aimes l'entrecôte? Ah oui, j'aime beaucoup l'entrecôte. Et toi, t'aimes les spaghettis? Oui, j'aime. So everything's contracted very clearly. So tu aimes becomes t'aimes. Then when you have the letter S in the pronoun, you have to connect the S. So we saw that when you have vous, you have to pronounce the E sound, which we dropped for the other forms. So it's aimer, just like the infinitive. And you have to connect with a Z. Donc vous aimez. Maybe you know this already, but if you listen to the video till the end, there'll be something you probably never heard, a secret, but that everyone in France uses. So it's really weird that English people or English speaking people don't know this. So if you stay, I'll say that. Donc vous aimez. It's you love. It's the same with the il. Because you have this S letter, you have to say ils aiment. So notice how the difference between ils aiment and il aime, the only difference is this liaison, the Z sound. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. Il aime, ils aiment. That's how you can hear the difference between plural and singular with some of these verbs. It's the same with elle. So, elles aiment et elle aime. Oops. Okay? Now, the little secret, very important. Probably at school, it's a catastrophe. Probably at school you learn that you use nous a lot, which means we. But French people don't use nous. Nous sounds very like a school French, like a book, like literature. Nous. In French we use on. Which means we. And you have to do a liaison too, with a little N sound. So we love in French would be on aime. On aime la musique. We love music. Can you hear the N sound? On aime. So that's very important, and that's the little secret to speaking French like a French person. Because if you say nous aimons, it's correct, but you sound like a foreigner learning French, which is totally fine. But if you want to sound French, learn to say on. Okay? Things falling apart. C'est la catastrophe. Okay. Alors, I'll give you a few examples with the other verbs. So, how would you say you arrive or you are arriving? Let me write it down. Try and pronounce it. Let me show you. It's vous arrivez. Did you get that right? So liaison with the Z and the E sound at the end. Okay? Another example with écoutez. So let's do this one. So try and pronounce it. My turn. Ils écoutent. So, two things, the liaison here. And very difficult and very important. In French, I don't know why, but we put ENT in this form. It's weird, it's a spelling thing. But actually, it really is what I explained before. It's écouter, the infinitive, without the E sound. So, écoute. Simple as that. So, simple as that, kind of. So, ils écoutent. That's how you have to pronounce this one. Okay. Last example with on. I don't know. Or a new verb. Oublier, which means to forget. So, two things to think about. The verb is oublier in infinitive, so drop the E, it becomes oubli, and then the liaison. On oublie, we forget. On oublie les clés, we forget the keys, etc., etc. So, there you have it. You have the Z liaison when you have the S, the N liaison when you have the N, and drop the E sound of the infinitive. And you can pronounce all the ER verbs, all of them. I'll make another video where it's just practicing ER verbs, how to pronounce them, and a story to read to get used to pronouncing them correctly. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.